Hi everyone. I love doing a inspection of my pawpaws just to kind of anticipate what the following spring will bring. It is October. It's getting chilly. You can see that the leaves on my pawpaws are starting to turn yellow, and I expect in another 2 or 3 weeks these pawpaws will not have any leaves at all. So I just wanted to go through and kind of inspect the pawpaws one by one and really anticipate what will come next spring. If you remember, the problem that I had this past spring/summer is that my pawpaws that had fruit buds, all of them were pretty well clones of each other. So I could not cross-pollinate. I only had one plant that was not a clone that gave me a flower, and with that flower I managed to pollinate some fruit. So let's see. So right here, this is not one of the clones. This came from Hertz Gardens, but unfortunately this little tree does not have any flower buds for next spring. Okay, I always look at my pawpaws, and I look kind of like right there in the corner, and this all has feather buds, so that means that this one will not give me flowers for next spring. Okay, this one right here, this is one of those that's a clone from my parents' backyard. The clones are the ones that I got out of my parents' backyard. That's why I have so many of them, because they were free. Woohoo! So, this one, yes, she is loaded with flower buds. So, again, I look kind of right here in the elbow, if you will, where the leaf meets the stem. And there are a lot of round buds, and I know you can't really see it that well. Unfortunately, this is my phone camera because my other camera is dead right now, and it's just not going to show that detail. But please believe me, that's a round bud, and there are plenty of them here. So this is one of my clones, and she's going to flower profusely. She's getting a little bit tall. I am about 5'6", and she's standing a good 4 feet above my head, so that would make her 9'6". So probably at the end of next spring, I'm gonna have to maybe top the tree a bit and bring the canopy back down, because it doesn't really make sense for it to get too high, because then I can't pick the fruit. So, but anyway, this one right here, this is a clone as well of the trees from my parents' backyard. I don't understand this clone, because this clone for some reason is really short in stature. If you look at this one, which was planted at the same time as the one beside it, and the one beside it, you see two in the frame right there. Those two are clones of each other. Look how short the one is and how tall the other is. And then same deal, I'm coming over here, and you see that short little tree and the one beside it? Those are clones of each other. So I don't know what gives with this little short tree, but it doesn't matter, because this is one of my trees that actually gave me fruit, this little short thing. So you know what? She's got her thing going on. I'm not going to complain. This tree, my little short tree clone, is also ready to give me fruit for next year. Kind of hard to see, but anyway, just trust me on that. There is, like what I'm pointing to, that is a round bud, and there are more. So she's ready to fruit. So we have 2 clones ready to fruit so far. Sounds like I'm running into the same problem as last year. This one right here, this is my biggest tree, and she's a clone too. And she, of course, is ready to fruit. She's got lots of flower buds, like right there where my fingernail is a round bud. You can actually see that. And I'm kind of concerned about this one, because I was looking, and like, look at this bud right here. See if I can get you a good angle. Oh, where'd it go? Okay. Well, there it is, barely. You see how round and plump that bud is? That bud is ready to bloom. which, I mean, it's October, going on the end of October. So, blooming buds right now is not really a good idea, girl. But okay. So anyway, I guess she's super ready. Going on to the next one. This one also is a clone. Okay. That's a clone. And, a clone of the tree in my parents' backyard. This one's ready to bloom. This one had buds last year, fruit buds, but it didn't have many. And the ones it had some issues. So it didn't give me any fruit, but you can see kind of right there where my nail is that there is a round bud. So she's ready. Okay, so let's move on. This next tree is not a clone. Okay, this one was gotten from Hertz. Okay, and you can see the difference in size of this tree gotten from Hertz. The tree gotten from Hertz is in the very left corner. And all the trees kind of to the right, those are all clones from my parents' backyard. This tree gotten from Hertz has a few flower buds on it, or at least it did. I hope they're still here. Come on, girl. Please give me some flower buds. It's not... Okay. You can't see this, and you're not going to be able to, the way the sun and everything is positioned. And, of course, I don't have the greatest phone either. So, right here, at my finger, there, it came in focus for a second. Anyway, that's a round bud, okay? And there are a few more. I count like 1, 2... 3, 4, 5. I count 5 quickly. There may be a few more on there, but if she does give me flowers, they're not going to be much, of course. And she may not give me flowers. When the tree is still that small, sometimes it's really hard for that tree to support flowers. So that's okay. She's trying. The next one, which obviously is not going to give me flowers because she's a little on the small side. This tree I got in April of this year from Edible Landscaping. It's not a name variety or anything, just a seedling, but she gave me good growth this year. She, when I got her, she was maybe a fourth of that size. So she's got her groove on, and I suspect next spring and summer that the tree you see before you will be about as big as the tree behind it, which is that one. Okay, so let's go to this tree behind it. Again, this one's very small in stature, so of course it does not have flower buds either. That tree was gotten from a greenway here in North Carolina. So no name variety, but at least it's not a clone of the others that I have that are really big. Okay, let's check my other pawpaws. Alrighty, so I have pawpaws in 2 sections of my yard. This is the section that's more shaded, so the trees here don't grow quite as vigorously as the other ones you just saw, because the other ones are pretty well in full sun. So the tree that I'm walking towards right beside the building, this is of course a clone from my parents' backyard. It did not fruit this past year. However, it does, or at least the last time I checked, it did have flower buds. So I'm expecting some fruit from here. Of course, I can't find the flower buds when I'm... Here's one. Okay, right there. That's a flower bud. Flower buds are round, and the vegetative or leaf buds tend to be like a sharp, pointed blade or feather. Okay, so these two that are side by side, I'm really excited about these two. I got these from Gurney's in, I don't know, but there's a tag on the tree, and I'll tell you in just a second. These were seedlings, and they have grown. I'm not going to say they're 100% mature, but they're definitely not seedlings anymore. The one on the right hand side was the tree that did flower this past spring, and it gave me one little flower that I was able to pollinate some of my other trees with and get fruit. But hopefully this year, both of these trees from Gurney's will give me flowers. Like I'm walking to it, and I see right now, I'm fighting the leaves. Right now that this one has a flower bud. This is so difficult. Right there, okay? Where my finger is, that's a round bud. So that's a flower bud. And there are more. Like I'm looking, and there's one right here, okay? And there are more. So this tree definitely has more flower buds on it than it did at this time last fall. So this one should be giving me lots of flowers. I'm going to really zone in on these two trees and make sure I'm fertilizing the heck out of them. Not like to where all they're doing is growing and doing nothing else, but just to make sure that they are really healthy. Because the key to me getting pawpaws is to have something to cross-pollinate with, and these are my two most mature trees that I'm going to get flowers from that are not clones, okay? So let's go to the other tree. This one did not flower, but I was watching it earlier, and this one does have flower buds. Like right there is a flower bud, and I'm sure if I keep going, here's one right here. The flower bud. So this girl is ready. This one kills me because she always shoots out like these ginormous leaves. Okay, let me get out on my own light. Okay, well that's not working. See, she shoots out these ginormous leaves. Okay, so if I can get these two to do their thing this spring and summer and give me some flowers, and then cross-pollinate between these two Gurney seedlings, or they were seedlings, and the trees that I got from my parents' house, I should have a ton. I mean, like an awesome crop of fruit. I told you I'd tell you when I planted these trees, and there is a tag, yes. So I started to forget. I got so many trees, I didn't remember who, what, when, where, why, how. So this one was planted in 2011. Okay? And they were both planted in 2011. Now it is 2015. So this first tree that was a seedling from 2011 to 2015, it took it to give me flowers. So that's about 4 years, but you got to consider when I got it as a seedling, it was probably already a year old. So if there's anybody out there trying to grow pawpaws from seeds, it's very, very doable. Just be aware that you're probably not going to see your first fruits for 5, maybe 6 years after you plant them. So be patient. And my last pawpaw is this one over here. And this is also a clone from my parents' backyard. And it's really wild. When I planted those pawpaws, this was probably the biggest. And it's not the biggest right now, especially if I look at the base of the tree, the trunk. And it's really obvious how much being in full sun really helps to fill out those trees. Not that this tree is small, it's not small, but considering it was the biggest and it's not now, that tells me that pawpaws, even though when they start out, they need shade. You know, if you really want them to grow and you really want a good crop, you probably should put them in full sun. This one had flowers last spring/summer, but something over here kept eating the buds. Like I'd have a flower and come back and the flower was gone. So I don't really know what was eating the flowers, but this one's loaded with round buds. You can see them without me pointing to them, but there's one right there. If you look down below it, it's got round buds. So provided whatever it is doesn't return and eat all my buds, this one should be ready to crop for me too, although she didn't crop this past summer. So there you have it. those are my pawpaws. And in review, let's see where we stand. Alright, so here's where we stand with the pawpaws. I have 8 trees that are ready to flower. Of those 8 trees that are ready to flower, actually, let me think about that. That's 9 trees that are ready to flower. Of those 9 trees that are ready to flower, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of them are all clones of each other. 3 of them are not, okay? So I do have means of cross-pollination. However, one of the trees, which is the tree that you see in the lower, actually it's on the left-hand side of this screen, it's ready to flower, but it doesn't have that many flower buds. So there's a possibility that that one will not give me the fruit that I need. However, the 2 Gurney's trees are the key. If I can get those flowering and putting out pollen, then I can use that pollen to cross-pollinate with my clone trees from my parents' yard and vice versa. And I should have a bumper crop of pawpaws next year. So I'll keep you updated. See you in the spring. Bye-bye.